my name is Dana Loberg, and I'm the CEO and founder of Leo AR. And I'm here to talk to you today about storytelling during COVID and the progression of AR as well during this COVID time. So to give you a little bit of background, Leo AR is one of the leading consumer-facing augmented reality apps today. We were one of the first to launch in the Apple App Store in the consumer AR space. And what Leo AR does is basically allows you to have any kind of alternate reality you could ever want instantly in seconds, just by using your mobile device or your iPad. So we see a lot of creative individuals and fans of Leo who have like instant unicorns flying in their bedrooms, lions and tigers like in their playroom or in their living room. And it's been really interesting to kind of see how the progression of the creativity that people have been having during this time while they're stuck at home, isolated, and trying to find new ways to kind of uplift their spirits and bring better times to a pretty difficult year of 2020 for everybody that's been dealing with the COVID-19. So this is my co-founder and I. We started this in 2018. Obviously this was pre-COVID, and we were completely surprised by how useful our app has become during this time period where people are stuck at home and trying to find new ways to have fun and explore their imagination. This is kind of just our product so you can understand how it works. So when you see the videos that people have created, you can kind of understand how they've been able to create them. So we are one of the easiest apps for anyone to create these AR experiences. You basically open the phone, you open our app, instantly opens the camera, you tap, it opens to categories. You can choose from like princess category, space category, alphabet category, nature category, backyard. There's so many different categories that we have. You basically tap any of the objects, they instantly appear in front of you, and you can record. Many times the people go into the scenes with the AR objects, and they kind of create these little mini movies, and you can share it anywhere that you like, cross-platform. And so we kind of see the camera is the new 3D filter for the world. And in augmented reality, it's not about just augmenting, your face with selfies like we do today. It's going to be augmenting everything that we see in the outer world, right? So it could be things that the camera is facing outwards. You can now add dinosaurs, add wild animals, add the unicorns flying. Like, you can have anything that you can imagine in your mind here in this real world. And what Instagram did for photos, Leo AR does for video. So you take a very mundane video, you add the objects, it becomes something super fun, creative, and imaginative, and something that people love to watch. And so what we've noticed during COVID is that creativity really has no limits. This means that like during COVID, during restrictions, where there are limitations of what you can do, where you can go, who you can see, with Leo AR in our app and with augmented reality, there's actually no limit to what you can create. I think that's what's really exciting about the storytelling in the AR space is if you can think it and you can dream it, then you can have it here in this world when the digital and the real world come together in augmented reality. So what we've noticed during COVID, obviously, is the children are home from school and they're on multiple devices now. So they're on their iPads, they're on their desktop, laptop, mobile, much more frequently and much longer than previously before COVID. Most of this is because they're doing their Zoom calls on the devices or doing more educational apps while they're at home, being homeschooled for the first time, because many of them either went to preschool or daycare or kindergarten or grammar school, and now the parents are home with the kids trying to educate them as best as they can. This is pretty typical now of COVID times. You have the mom or the dad taking turns and shifts to entertain and educate the kids while they're home, because pretty much every family's lost about a year's worth of traditional education of taking their kids to a schoolroom or classroom where they can be educated by teachers. So this is kind of some examples of how creative people have become during COVID, and just how exciting it is to see that if you give people the right tools and devices, like they will create some of the most amazing content you've ever seen. And I'd have to say that all this is done by Leo fans. I didn't produce any of these. And it's all user-generated content. So we get millions and millions of videos created by families and children, and people all over the world who use Leo. And this is pretty standard. The reason it's so popular is because now everyone gets access to like the elephants, the giraffes, all these wild animals you would never be able to see in real life unless you went to a safari in Africa, which most people don't do. Now you can have them instantly in your room.
Start it and then stop it. Stop.
And then here's just I did a whole bunch of a collection of a variety of different videos that people have been creating. You can see there was a huge range of usage from adults to grandparents to children. Augmented reality really touches pretty much anyone and everyone that has an imagination. And I've definitely heard from adults that say, I feel like a kid again when they use our app. So it's been pretty exciting to just see how just one simple app that allows you to, build these new worlds in front of you or around you has really brought people excited about creating storylines, about expressing themselves and sharing these new worlds with their friends while they're still contained within their own home. I always make a joke that this is kind of the Burning Man video. Obviously some pretty somber music. So in our app, you can add the objects, and then on top of the objects and the scenes, you can have effects. So you like the unicorns on a special effect with the rainbows coming down. You could add music, you can add stickers, you can add text. We have kind of just an open forum for anyone to create anything that they want in the camera. So I'll just keep showing you more examples that we kind of have highlighted as some of the top videos that users have created within Leo.
What the heck? I'm in space with an astronaut dancing on the moon and the alien dancing on a rock, a huge rock. Let's see, there's a small rocket over here. Let me go around and see it. There it is. Wow, we're in space. Oh, look at the fireworks.
So you can see the kid here kind of is almost like the producer of the film and speaking through the storyline. So not only in AR are you able to create these scenes, but you can actually create the stories behind them through any kind of editorial or speech that you want, which makes it even more interesting. And you can see that the entire room, wherever they were building this, is like enveloped by the galaxies in space. You really don't even know where they're creating the experience. So that's also interesting. In augmented reality, you can choose to completely envelop yourself in this digital world where you can produce it anywhere, or you use what's existing, whether you're in your garden and you add a gnome or you add a fairy in the garden. You can actually use the real environment to enhance kind of the objects that you add. So it's very interesting in like all the many ways that people can create these kind of videos. Some of them are very like existential and crazy. I'm going to show you one on the left here with all these special effects and rainbows and lizards and this flower pot. The interesting thing about AR is that like you can't sometimes tell the difference between real and fake. So the more creative you get, the more interesting sometimes the videos are, because you're like, oh, what is the real part of the video and what is the added digital 3D asset that they've implemented. This is an educational video.
This one, Mama.
There's tiger also.
This one, this one, this one, this, this one. चीता था मेरे के वास्ते, चीता के इधर आता, गट्टू के वास्ते खेले.
This one's really cute. Obviously, the mom is with their toddler or child and trying to educate them through the flashcards. And what better way to like enhance the learning experience than adding the actual realistic 3D animal on top of the card? So it's just like super creative, fun way, engaging way to get your kids re-excited about education. And it's just great to see that parents are using this in great ways to enhance their kids' educational experience while they're home. And also, like for the kids, they get to explore all these new objects and things and learn at the same time. But they also can create these like super imaginative new worlds. Those are more coming too. But there's just a variety of ways that people can use AR to really enhance their lives. So we're going to go to the next one. So these are a couple I thought were pretty interesting. One of them is like, we have the feature of like, you can put a burnt hole kind of anywhere and it's burning flames. It's very like Harry Potter-ish. And then you also see, like I was saying, like people taking these scenarios and adding in 3D objects, which completely changes the scene that they're in. So these are just two more examples of how people are using AR. And you can see like how it looks like there's a hole in that person's hand. It's so realistic. And the quality is so good. The objects that we choose to put into our app are also high quality. So like we're trying to go for the effect of like people not being able to tell real from fake when it comes to augmenting video. This is just like a fun, obviously kids love to be playing in the playrooms and the outdoor yards. So someone added panda bears to the seesaw. And you can hear from all these different videos that I'm showing you that everyone's speaking different languages. Literally, augmented reality is a global phenomenon. Obviously, COVID is also global as far as like everyone having these waves of surges of COVID going up, COVID going down. But there's always some premise of lockdown and restriction that we're all feeling throughout this whole year of 2020. And I think that's what's made augmented reality so popular, especially for the kids at this time that are trying to find new ways to express themselves. They're trying to understand why things are the way they are. Maybe they're not really getting the full picture. So I feel really excited to see that they can escape and kind of create these whole new spaces that like, I wish when was a kid and was reading all these books, these, fantasy books, that like I could have something that I could build in my own home in a few seconds and create these new stories for me to share with my friends and let them know like how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, what I'm learning in the books that I'm reading, etc. So this is also a couple more examples. They were pretty interesting. One is, I think, is an adult who's giving us a fun story around the unicorns. It's definitely not a child. And then on the right side, there's this. I think someone did like a 3D project with the planets and then added in the 3D object, which is the dog.
So ever since they got here, it's gotten real weird, man. They start doing this magical stuff. I don't even know what they're talking about half the time, but they seem to be having fun, you know, telling me the secrets of the universe. You know, if they were only a little bit bigger than My Little Pony and, you know, whatever, but it's pretty powerful beings.
This one on the right is just like adding this 3D object dog with this cool effects into their planetarium. This is something that was pretty common pre-COVID. So we would see a lot of classrooms, teachers, and students playing with Leo AR in the classroom, like dancing and singing. Here they'd all made these astronaut heads. And then they added the astronaut from Leo to kind of enhance the whole video. And I'm sure they sent it home to the parents. This is pretty typical too, where you see families kind of coming together and using Leo and augmented reality as a family. I think that happens more so now during COVID than ever before, because now families are all together inside their home or in their backyard, but they're pretty restricted to the parameters of where they live, right? So this is a good one I liked, of like the family dancing together on the rooftop, using Leo AR as like a fun tool to play together. This is an example of another enhancement of Leo, is that you can use it in the schools. I already mentioned like the educational purposes and for parents at home, but you know, during COVID, all the schools were shut down. A lot of people turned to homeschooling and remote learning. People are still continuing it today. It really hasn't, the schools haven't officially opened up. And if they have, a lot of the parents are still choosing to keep their child at home. So this is really exciting. We built an education version, and this allows for teachers to add the objects and kind of re-engage students using mobile and technology, which is exciting for the students again, right? They get to see things that they normally wouldn't be able to see in this kind of 3D version. So in this example, the teacher's giving a homework assignment using the planets and things floating in the air. It's pretty cool. And we've seen this a lot, like whether it's the planets or the animals or the alphabet. There's like a lot of, or math. They use a lot for like 3D objects to teach geometry and algebra. So there's a lot of other pieces to augmented reality that expand just beyond just the creative fun part of it. It's actually can be very educational as well, in the classrooms as well as at home while homeschooling.
Hello, my dear children. Are you ready to explore the space? Yes? Come on, get into the spaceship. Let's go together.
So it's pretty obvious that during COVID, the storytelling really moved beyond, you know, the chalkboard and the written assignments from the old world. And now COVID really accelerated the storytelling component into technology, adding technology so things are more mobile, more engaging, more vibrant, and that really expedited. I think that when it came to teachers and devices and technology, there was always a gap, I would say. Like most of them were using, you know, still the old school, which is fine, the old school book reading. But now with mobile and devices, you can really re-engage students and kind of add more life and more fun to your projects in new ways. And I think COVID allowed for this to kind of grow exponentially. And now, because the teachers and the students are both forced to learn Zoom and tech devices, like this trend will just continue to grow of incorporating more technology into the educational space. But in the beginning, we started to see, obviously, kids giving presentations of their favorite books and their favorite characters using, 3D objects. And then we'd also see them creating art projects where they would add the 3D objects on top of the art scenes that they'd created.
That's the horses that have a long tail and the eat grass and horse food. My environment is the jungle and pandas live there because there's lots of bamboo to eat. And then birds live there because there's very high trees that they can live in. Tigers live there because there's lots of hiding spots and there's grass everywhere and they can pounce on their predators.
So really, throughout this whole COVID experience and storytelling, I find that if you give humans the right tools, they will go above and beyond what you would expect. Like our expectations as a team here at Leo, the users have totally surpassed what we thought people would do with our app, how they would be using it, where they're using it, the ages that they're using it. We see definitely a young demographic of users from ages 2 to 10, which was really quite surprising because we were expecting more teenagers to use AR in their mobile devices for enhancing their videos. So I think that there's a new generation of children now being raised with this new 3D world that they're living in, this like part digital, part real. And they're super excited about it. They don't question it. They love it. They want more of it because obviously their brains, like they're still living in this imaginary space, which is why children love reading books and they love monsters and goblins and all the fun fantasy things that don't exist because they think that's funny. They think that's great. They think that that's a whole new world they want to explore. And so now in mobile with AR, you can actually give them the tools to really have them with 20 unicorns sitting next to them on their bed at night. And it's exciting for everyone. It's exciting for the parents to like share this with their kids, but it's even more exciting for the children to finally get to see it. So we've just seen this insane creative explosion throughout COVID for our AR app. And I think this will continue to stay. And I think it will continue to grow as the tools get easier and easier for all demographics to use. And as the devices get even stronger and cheaper at the same time, it really will give everyone the capability around the globe to equally have access to these worlds, these 3D objects, and these tools to really enhance their world. So that's it. It's a pretty short presentation. I just wanted to show kind of a collage of videos, creative videos that people are making with, a large array of age groups, ways that they're using augmented reality, both in their home or in their backyard or in the playground or in their classroom, both for education, both for creative imagination, for expressing how they're feeling, what they're thinking, or even storytelling. Like some of them are creating these little mini movies that are like 2 to 3 minutes long. And that's also been really exciting to kind of see the amount of time that they're spending to create these new storylines that have never been done before in the mobile space. So if anyone has any questions, you're more than welcome to email me at dana@leoapp.com. I'm happy to share any other questions you might have. And I hope you've enjoyed seeing some of our user-generated content and have been inspired on new ways that people are using AR during COVID times, and especially in the storytelling component. There's obviously a lot of stories that people want to share, and being able to build it quickly in mobile with augmented reality, with high quality augmented reality videos is like a great way to uplift everyone's spirits and create a new world that they want to live in. Thank you so much.